Rec League Podcast. Tell your friends, tell your neighbors, tell your family, tell your haters. Available on Anchor, Spotify, Google Podcasts, Pocket Casts, Radio, Public Breaker, and Stitcher. At Rec League Podcast on Facebook, YouTube, and Instagram. At Rec League Pod on Twitter. Episode 33 available now. Yo, whether you watching this from Facebook, Twitter, click the link in my Instagram, or YouTube itself. What up, world? I just watched Bad Boys for Life. It is the third movie in the Bad Boys franchise. The first movie coming out in 95. Bad Boys 2 coming out in 2003. Both directed by Michael Bay. It stars Will Smith, Martin Lawrence, Vanessa Hudgens, Alexander Ludwig, Charles Melton, Paola Nunez, Kate Del Castillo, Nicky Jam, Joe Pantoliano, OG. He was in The Matrix. He was in the first two. I hope I said that right. Teresa Randall, Jacob Scipio, another name I'm sure I mispronounced. Massey Furlan, and it is directed by Adil El Arbi and Bilal Fallah. If I mispronounced that, that's my bad. That's thousand pardons, man. If you want to get a shout out in my review of hopefully The Gentleman, stay tuned to the end of the video to figure out how you can do that. So you got Mike Lowrey, you got Marcus Burnett, been partners for however long, at least 25 years. That's how old the first movie is. And they're getting up there in age. Martin Lawrence was already trying to retire in Bad Boys 2. In the trailers, Will Smith is going to be hunting down bad guys till he's 100. So they're, like they always have been. And somebody from Will Smith's past has targeted him. So that kind of pulls, there's a new mission, you know what I mean? Martin Lawrence has to have his boys back. And then there's the younger generation of cops who do things a little more technological. But there was like the big task force in Bad Boys 2. And now there's this new one. It's time to find out who is trying to assassinate Mike Lowrey. And man, as you can see, this was one of my most anticipated movies all year. Number 9 on the list. But you with the cops. Yeah, you with the cops. You with the Mike Lowrey. This is one of my all-time favorite buddy cop franchises, man. Lethal Weapon, Rush Hour, 48 Hours, Bad Boys. These movies are hilarious. Like, the first one is one of my all-time favorite action movies. And 2, I was out of the loop with this whole Bad Boys 2 is like horrible, one of Michael Bay's worst, as bad as the Transformers sequels. It's not. Bad Boys 2 is overly long, and there's a lot of slow-mo, there's a lot of humor, there's a lot of chases, and it's still fun. So I was obviously excited for this movie. And it's like these dudes didn't miss a beat, man. It's been 17 years. I don't know if y'all was keeping up with development or not, man, but over the past 3 or 4 years, Sony would come out, Bad Boys 3 and 4 coming out here and here. Then they take them off the schedule. Then they put them back on. Then they take them back off. And then Bad Boys 3 got announced, but 4 didn't. And now we have Bad Boys 3, which is titled Bad Boys for Life, because this movie's already done however well at the box office. So now Bad Boys 4 isn't going to be titled Bad. It's going to be titled it's going to be titled Bad Boys Number 4 Life, and my head's going to explode. Cause they should have just called this Bad Boys 3. But yeah, it's funny. This movie is hilarious. I guess the end of last year was Eddie Murphy's comeback. the beginning of this year's Martin Lawrence comeback, man. Hollywood needs to give Martin Lawrence more work. Martin Lawrence is hilarious in this movie, and I'm pretty sure I caught a nod to his sitcom. But yeah, like it's like they start off here and here. They have to come back together, and I feel like the Bad Boys series, all three movies don't get credit for how personal they get to the cops, to Will Smith. Like the first movie, one of Will Smith's friends was murdered by the main villain. The second movie, it's Martin Lawrence's sister, who Will Smith is dating, who's like caught up in all the chaos in the third act. And this movie is personal too. I won't say how and I won't say why, but it's what drives the plot. And that's why I'm like, my complaint, I'm the one that's gonna geek out about what my complaint is, man. Like the writing in this movie completely ruins the timeline of all three movies. Because stuff is said about how long things have happened. There's backstory for characters that like is never mentioned in the first two movies, and it like completely like redoes the whole what we knew of these characters, especially one character, and doing that math, it just doesn't add up. So it's like a Friends episode. You know how like Ross was like one age for like 3 seasons while the other characters had birthdays. The Bad Boys series and its timeline is completely out of whack now. Oh yeah, it's like minor nitpicks, man, but there are characters in the first two movies, different characters in both movies, that Will and Martin have this back and forth with. And there's also a role with a basketball player that was in the first two that aren't in this one. Minor spoilers, I guess, but those are like minor details. Like the details in this movie is what bothered me. There's like traditions for movies that didn't stick. There's a cool cameo, maybe a half hour in though. With that being said, man, there are good car chases. There are good gunfights. There are good fights, and it even gets deeper for this series. It gets deeper than the other two did, and it also made a call that might be unforgivable. Like I still don't know how it's sitting with me. But and there are mid-credit scenes, one of which definitely sets up a fourth movie. I feel like I complained more than I praised, man. Like these two dudes that stepped in and directed. I assume the only reason Michael Bay didn't do this movie was either his asking price, what he wanted to direct it, like how much money he wanted, or he was either just busy doing Six Underground with Ryan Reynolds. So with all that being said, man, in my opinion, I will say that Bad Boys for Life is dope, but it's like the writing is in my ear like a fucking gnat at a barbecue. Have you seen Bad Boys for Life, man? What did you think about it, man? Positive, negative, somewhere in between? Let me know. If you want that shout out in my review of, like I said, hopefully The Gentleman, maybe The Rhythm Section, maybe Birds of Prey. I don't know when I'm going back to the movies. How much will Bad Boys make opening weekend, man? Be the first, be the closest. Get your guesses in by noon Central Time Sunday. And I didn't say it in my Doolittle review, but Sunday is still the deadline. But if you hit the 4-day holiday weekend numbers, you will still get shouted. So, with that being said, though, I've recently reviewed Doolittle. I've recently reviewed 1917. Favorite movies of last year, most anticipated of this year, complete Blu-ray collection. Check those out, man. Like I said, I want to see The Gentleman next weekend if it comes to my theater. I plan to watch, because I know in my 1917 review, I said I was going to see Underwater. I was sick, so I didn't see it. I want to try to see it tomorrow. I don't know if I'm going to review it. I just don't know if I want to. And then we're closing in on February already, man. Huge shout out to my poster plug on eBay, man. Moving Image movie posters on eBay is where I get a lot of my stuff. He rescued my background from this video for from having a super ugly ass Bad Boys for Life poster with an ugly white border. I would have used it, but I wouldn't have been happy. But yeah, man, he saved the day, man. So check out the Rec League podcast, movies, music, sports every other week, man. Next episode, we're gonna talk Super Bowl. We're gonna talk this Mac Miller, this Eminem album that just came out, among other things, man. Oscar nominations. So like, subscribe, comment. Find me where you find me, man. Don't know where to find me. Watch these credits. Peace.